Should a married couple have separate bank accounts?
No. I do not think married couples should keep any finances private. I think you should have visibility into everything. And even if I'm not looking at it on a regular basis, I think that you should have the passwords to every bank account so you can see visibility in what's going on.
Yeah.
Now,
even if, like, say, there may be a reason to have, like, say, 2 separate checking accounts.
Yeah.
But you should each have access to them. There might be a reason to move money certain ways.
Sure.
Yeah.
I agree with that. But I just think if you hide money, it gives incentive to do other things that I don't know how to phrase it. It's an opportunity for, I think, unfaithfulness.
There was somebody I know, an older guy, who had a separate account from his wife, and he would use it to kind of play and do some things with.
Yeah.
She didn't know it was in that account.
Yeah.
And there's something about that I always thought was deceptive.
Yeah, I think it gives you an opportunity to hide. And
Yeah.
so if, I don't think that I spend my money on anything like poor or bad, but if I do, it's like my husband's got to know.
Right.
Because we got to talk about it.
Yeah. Well, because you're in this relationship, and if you're giving 100% in the relationship, that's everything.
Yeah.
Finances, everything you've got in it.
Yeah.
And I agree. I think then it becomes this point, well, I'm hiding this. What else am I hiding?
Right. And it doesn't matter who makes what amount of money. I don't believe that marriage has like a percentage that you bring to it. No. You both make money if you both work, like you both make money, and that contributes to your life together.
Right.
And that's all of it.
There hit a certain point where Karen wasn't working and I was the only one making money. Mm-hmm. I never used that as a weapon to say, well, this is my money, and it was our money.
Right.
I was working for us.
Right.
And that's exactly it. It's our money, our resources, our house.
Yeah,
I agree.
I think too, women sometimes will say like they want money on the side in case something goes bad in a marriage, and I understand the fear that you can have of wanting to make sure that if you're a stay-at-home mom and you're not working and you end up getting divorced, that you have some sort of money built up. Like that's a real thing that people experience. But I also believe that like you should be in marriage until the end.
100%.
Right? And so if that's the case, I'm not going to put money to the side because I don't believe that it's going to be taken from me.
So a wife walks into the house and says, honey, I won the lottery. Pack your bags. He goes, that's great. Where are we going? The beach or the mountain? She goes, doesn't matter. Just get the hell out.
No.
I will leave that in. Okay. All right. Should the husband or wife be in charge of finances in the marriage? I think we've talked a little bit about that.
A little bit, yeah.
But Karen and I saw finances vastly differently.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad I don't have to argue with her about finances anymore. I will say that's something I don't, although there is a piece of me that I wouldn't mind having one more argument with her like that. If I could have her back, I would.
Yeah.
But I don't mind not having that argument.
Yeah. I think that with finances, I think it's really important to have, I don't think you need a decision maker in the marriage, but I do think it's important to commit to one way of doing things. And it might not be the way that I want it to be. But you can say, I'm going to commit to doing it this way and we're all in. And there should be an opportunity for both man and wife to husband and wife, for both of them to say like, I don't like the way we do this. Can we change this? There's got to be room for conversation.
What do you think about having a budget?
I think it's essential. I think it's essential to have a budget. I'm a big fan of having like a line item in the budget that's just total discretionary spending, but it's a capped limit every month. So like I can spend a certain amount of money. That's just what I get to spend. And if I'm going over that constantly, then there's a conversation that we can have.
I think it's important to have a budget too. Karen and I did right in the beginning. We had Excel spreadsheets, was what worked. And then eventually we had YNAB, which is a really good thing. If you're looking for a budget program, YNAB's good. Not a sponsor of this video, but
but would like to be.
But would like to be. But it's good because you knew you could set those dollar, and as things are coming in and going out, whether it's every other month or at the end of the year, you can look at, my gosh, how come we spent so much on car repairs? Well, it was just a bad year.
Yeah.
But that money had to come from somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
So you know what? Maybe we had to pare back on our vacation if we had to spend more on car repairs.
Budgets help you make decisions.
And that's what it is. Sometimes I think people just say, well, as long as I still have money in the bank, I'm okay.
No, you're not.
But imagine if you were able to plan that out better and realize what you were spending on your $7 Starbucks every day.
Yeah.
What could you do something different with that?
Yeah.
Could you make coffee at home and put that money into, so I think that helps you to make those decisions and not just be like, oh, this is great. We can just have fun with it. I said we know this other couple who I said, if I married her, we would have had a lot of fun, but no money. And if she married him, they would have had a lot of money and no fun. So we were in the right relationships. And then the last one is having a friendship with your ex okay if you're in a new relationship.
Again, I'll say yes, but I think it's situational.
Asterisk.
Asterisk. If you haven't figured it out yet, men and women relationships are not easy. There's a lot of situational and dynamic things that we have to address with all of these. And this is another one of them, because I think that especially if you ended a relationship on good terms, I think it's okay to be friends with them, but I would say, like, don't spend one-on-one time with them anymore, because that's not appropriate.
I think it fits the same category of, like we were talking about with men and women, can they be friends?
Yes, yeah.
I agree. I think if it ended well, why not if there's a reason? Because I know circumstances where exes went off and married other people.
Yeah.
And those couples are friends now.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No.
You know, that works.
Well, and to be friendly with, not to be, like, friendly, but to maintain a decent, like... So I'm losing the word. To maintain a decent, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm ruining your video.
That's okay.
Not friendship, but like acquaintance. Yeah. So to maintain a decent acquaintanceship with your ex, you never know how you're going to be interacting with them throughout the rest of your life. If you live in the same town, maybe you're going to be in the same town for the rest of your life too. And if you break up with them, you better be on good terms, because it's not like you're not going to see them.
Or if you're in those same circles like we talked about, if you're on the hiking group or in a church group and you're always going to see them, I mean, the alternative is for it to be, well, one alternative is for it to be awkward.
And it doesn't need
which
to
is
be.
never good, because then it's weird.
Yeah.
You know? And I think that's one other thing that I think there's two other points after this one that I was thinking about. One is, I think when men and women break up, especially if you're going to be in the same circles, I think the goal is to at least be able to have a cordial friendship with each other.
Yeah.
And not have it be, because I've seen on both sides where a breakup happens and they never put closure
never
to it.
reconcile.
And they don't, you don't have to be best friends, but you have to realize you're going to be in the same place at the same time.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't mean you have to be friends, but it also, it shouldn't be weird.
Yeah. Well, I think a really important part to breaking up too that I've never heard talked about is actually like reconciliation after a breakup of like, hey, would you, like maybe not the day that you break up.
No.
Yeah, but like maybe a few days after, a few weeks after, if you could go back to that person and say like, hey, would you please, like, I feel like I hurt you in these ways.
Right.
Would you please forgive me for that? That does so much to make sure the cordial friendship is free.
It shuts down the internal dialogue, too.
Yes.
Because if somebody's kind of sitting there going, rah, 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 this happened, and you're able to go and say, look, I'm really sorry that this happened this way.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure, like, we're okay, and all that. We're not getting back together, but just, like, let's make sure, I want to make sure we're okay.
Right.
And, like, in the right way, then the dialogue shuts down.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I might not agree, but at least we're there. And then I think the other side, or one other piece of this, is I found this when I got married. You're in a different situation. When Karen and I got married, I found it interesting that I didn't know how to relate to my friends after we got married.
Really?
Yeah, I wasn't sure what's okay. Like, is it okay for me to, like, go spend an evening with my friend and go do
I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't mean like I didn't know how to relate, but it was just this kind of thing where you go, this whole thing is so new.
Yeah.
I don't know what works and what doesn't. I think what's important, again, we probably have both seen couples that when they start dating, they kind of disappear from their friend groups. That's not good.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden it's like, well, she just pulled him out or he just pulled her out. And you can say, I don't feel like they're good for each other if you're pulling them out. I think the other thing is if you never see them spend any time together and all they're ever doing is spending time with their friends, that's a little weird.
Like, are you in a relationship?
But I think it's that, like, I think it's important that we also have friends outside.
Yeah.
Right? Because if it's just that relationship, boy, that's tough.
Yeah.
That's putting an awful lot on it.
Yeah, and it's like when you get married, things are not the same anymore. So there has to be some sort of change, right? But it doesn't have to be like a complete 180, right? It's maybe you spend a little less time with your friends who are not married, but that's just because like I gotta be home and eat dinner with my husband. I can't just go out to dinner with you whatever night of the week, and that's hard for both sides. I think it's really understandable how like single people feel left behind from a marriage. Yep. I was there for a really long time too, but the realization of like, well, their priorities have changed, and now then living it too of like, okay, I get married and my priorities changed. I can't do everything that I used to do, but I need to prioritize some things that I used to do because those relationships are still important to me.
Absolutely. And I think even like, because we're in similar situations.
Sure.
I have a men's group.
Yeah.
You have a women's group. Stephen has a men's group where he, in a very particular way, get together and we get to talk about each other. but that's what it is. Like, you talk about with peers what life is looking like. So there's one thing where just friends go hang out, go to a football game, do that kind of thing. But then I think it's important too that we have other people, because honestly, there are things that I didn't really talk to Karen about.
Right.
Because it just was a very difficult situation that I don't think she would have fully understood. She had things like that with me too, where she would talk to her sister or talk to her girlfriends because they had more of an understanding in that situation. So I think it's not just casual friends. I also think it's important we have that level of support.
Yeah.
And that doesn't go away at all.
Yeah.
And that we don't pull out of that. You know,
right?
And I think,
and it's not just like you get married and then you only hang out with married people. I know that does happen, but that's not what should be happening.
Right. I only hang out with widowers. It's really weird how that happens. You know?
Wow.
So yeah, that just happened. You know. Well, we're gonna have to end this, otherwise we'll be doing this. This video will last 4 hours long, which maybe you guys would hate. But if there are things that we touched on that you don't like or loved or you want to hear more on, put them in the comments, because we would definitely have Katie back, because we were talking, there's a million different subjects we could talk about and get into at more. Plus, we figured out we're a little bit talkative, so we could drag these things out just a little bit. But also, please like, subscribe, share, and comment on these videos, and we really appreciate you taking the time to watch. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.